All right, let's knock out this review of the Kershaw Knockout. Oh my gosh, did he just say that? Yes, he did. That was terrible, but we're gonna use it anyway. I did this review 2 nights ago, and I'll tell you, it just fell flat on its face. I got it through everything, I got it done, and I said, I'm starting over. So here's attempt number 2. This is the Kershaw Knockout, and let's just dive right into it, shall we? The blade on this is a Sandvik 14C28N, that's the steel, and I previously filmed, and will likely post before this video, a kind of a fun cut test or blade edge retention test, I guess would be a better way to call it. And the 14C28N, I like it. I think it's a good steel. It's very easy for me to sharpen, and I just barely, before this video, touched this up, and I hand sharpened it, and it will shave hair. Now, if you guys know, when I say hand sharpen, many of you probably think, oh yeah, Crockett really likes the Spyderco Sharp Maker, and I do. However, what I did is I bought some Spyderco ceramic bench stones, and the reason I got those, I guess I'll go into an explanation into another video, but my point is I'm able to bring this steel back by hand, not using the Sharp Maker, but using the bench stones, and that says a lot. And you know, my technique is getting better, and I'm getting a little off track here. Anyway, 14C28N, it's 3 inches and a quarter long. That's about the size, minimum size, that personally I like for EDC carry. I will carry small stuff, but generally that's just for testing purposes. I like 3 1/4 to 4 inches, generally speaking, with my EDCs. I just like them a little bit larger. You can see it's a beautiful stone wash blade, high hollow grind with drop point, and look at the spine on this. Look how thick it is right here near the thumb studs. It's kind of coming off the light funny. And then see how it tapers down right here and thickens back up and then tapers back down to that point. That's pretty interesting. To be honest with you, I don't know specifically why they've done that. If you guys know, let me know. But maybe it takes away some of the weight. And speaking of the weight, I guess I'll get right into that. It's 3.6 ounces. And for the size knife that it is, it's actually pretty light. There's a lot of steel going on here, and that's a pretty light blade for how big it is. Going back to the tip here, this is a really nice, strong tip. As I was doing the edge retention test, I was stabbing this log on my tile floor, and at one point I actually kind of missed the log, glanced off it, and it ran right down into the tile floor. And you can see there's nothing wrong with that tip. It held up pretty good. So while I didn't mean to do that, it was kind of a good test for it. Tip's still looking really good. What this blade offers too is it's really quite wide, and as such you get a lot of belly going on right here. And in fact, just before this, I cut up an apple, dipped it in peanut butter. Ooh, love that. And this really isn't a bad slicer because it's a relatively thinner knife and it slices quite well. It's got the speed safe deployment. You can either deploy using the thumb studs on both left and right hand side. Personally, I don't like the thumb studs. I will go flipper if I have the choice between the two every time. And it comes out quite fast, especially for as big a blade as it is, and just having the mass to throw all of that out. So not bad there. Lockup on it is very, very solid. Front, back, left, right. It's just a solid piece and very nice. It's got the frame lock, or what Kershaw calls the sub-frame lock. And it's actually a stainless steel, where the rest of this handle is machined aluminum. So this is where it actually gets its name, because the machined aluminum handle is knocked out with this stainless steel. And one thing I really like, I like this cutout inside. When I open it, what I'll actually do is I'll kind of dig the meat of my fingers inside that cutout, and it acts as a great anchor point to get in on the other side. And of course my pinky here wraps around the clip, and boom, makes it very nice. Also, what I wanted to point out on this is look how it's radiused right here where your thumb is going to be pushing that lock over to close the blade. See that? That I think could have been a really big oversight, but it feels very nice and comfortable and kind of gives you the detail that Kershaw put into making this blade. Jumping over to the pocket clip, you can actually see some grip tape that I put on here. And the reason being is I actually had a hard time extracting this just a little bit. So what I decided to do, and a large part of that is due to the aluminum scales here, is they're slick, right? This isn't G10, this isn't a grippy knife, it's not meant to be. And as such, I kind of had a hard time just getting in there and pulling that out. So what I did is I just put a little piece of grip tape on there, and now I can get in there, really grab that, pinch it, and pull it out of my pants pocket, and it works great. You can see that it will go either tip up, tip down carry on both the left and right hand side, so lefties rejoice. And it's a very deep pocket carry and a very actually small clip. In fact, look at it compared to, here's a Spyderco Endura 4. You can see compared to that clip. Benchmade Griptilian and Spyderco Tenacious. And actually, once this is buried down in your pants pocket, it becomes deceptively small. It just doesn't look that big when it's riding down in your pocket with this small size clip and how deep it carries. And it's kind of nice that way because then it's just not as noticeable, a little more low key. Looks nice, I think. You can also take a look at it from this view. Really nice, very strong. It's a good clip, very good clip. Now moving on to the handle, I think the handle feels very good in hand. I mean, you've just got a little bit of, you know, kind of a finger choil here, wraps around. Now honestly, if you were doing a lot of woodwork with this, you'd probably notice some hot spots around on these corners. But for EDC use, I think it's going to be perfect. And I like the lines. I like the length and the style it gives to the knife. It would be kind of cool maybe if these could somehow be dyed like a different color, like a darker gray or something, just to set it off, give it a little more character. I think would be kind of cool. Down on this end, there is a lanyard hole, but you can see in comparison to these small screws here that's holding in the clip, it is not a very big lanyard hole. But for me, guys, I'm not that worried about it. I have yet to really get into lanyards with my EDC type knives, my pocket knives. I just don't really use them all that much. So it is small, not a big deal to me. The machined aluminum, that helps add to the light weight of the knife. However, these are slick. And you can see they will wear. I've had this knife for I think 4 months now and been carrying it most of that 4 months, probably at least 3 months for sure, probably more 3.5 months, and have been using it. And you can see just a little bit there where it's going into my pant pocket to be clipped. You can see it will wear the finish off of the handles. Would I use this blade for a fighting blade or a self-defense blade, I guess? No, I wouldn't. Could it be? Certainly it could. Is it going to be your best choice? Absolutely not. And a lot of that is just, it's too slick. But again, for an EDC use, I think this would be perfect. It is, or near perfect. I really like this knife and glad I picked it up. Another thing is this is a very, very thin knife. It is not thick at all. And there's all my pocket lint again. Again, comparing it to these other knives, let's look at the, let's do the Benchmade Griptilian first. We know the Benchmade Griptilian, he's kind of a fatty, right? He likes his Twinkies. You can see the big difference there. Big difference there, the size. And let's jump to the Tenacious. The Tenacious is a, I don't know, medium size, I guess. maybe a little bit smaller than medium, but if you take a look at it, you can see that it's even thinner than the Tenacious. Now the Endura, that is a thin knife also, but even look at that. Look at that closely. I'm thinking that Knockout is just a hair thinner than the Spyderco Endura. So it rides really nice in the pocket. Overall, I'm digging this blade, and yes, guess where it's made, gentlemen? It is made in the USA. It's a good blade, good looking blade. Put my little grip tape on there to help me extract it from the pocket. But overall, I dig it. So there's the review, guys, the Kershaw Knockout. Do I like it? Yep, I give it thumbs up for sure.